one, Justin, is Article 2.
Yep.
I sent a link in there, and basically it is asking to authorize up to $2.5 million more for full construction documents. We just went through, that's what we were sitting in the half an hour before, was just a dry run of what's going to be presented at special town meeting to explain the article and the ask.
Yep.
I know the committee, this is a project we know that's been studied, analyzed. It is. The project originally, they were looking to try to do all 3 phases that were in the feasibility study, but they realized that that's not in the town's budget, given the current circumstances and where we're at from a borrowing standpoint. So it has been reduced down to really just the original 2 phases, which is like the immediate needs. So I think, I think from that standpoint, I think the ask for the design monies to finish so we can go to bid next in the spring seems like a wise point, because we keep on stopping this. It's been stopped twice, from 17 and then 20 and then to where we are now. So
Yeah. I remember talking through it back in 20. So I can't remember the pieces that make up the $2.5 million budget, but I do remember talking through some of the investigations that needed to happen way back when.
Yeah, so right now we're not fully complete with schematic design. We just had a conversation as DPW committee. These are things we can talk about and bring as recommendations forward as we go forward, is to maybe do a more detailed cost estimate. The discussion I think that you can provide some feedback on is there was a general consensus by our consultant, Weston and Sampson. I actually added to that. Others on the committee are hearing the same thing, that we're going into a very favorable bidding environment for a project like this going into next year. So, between that, it's a real need and it needs to keep on moving and not keep getting stopped, that we move forward with this authorizing the design fees for design, development, and construction documents and all the bidding. So I'll open up for discussion for both you and Lynn, thoughts about that on this article.
Yeah, just to speak to that point. Yeah, I mean, definitely from getting the people on the design and upfront side of it to the people needing the work. We've seen some other projects that have taken place and come in under budget, and they're getting some great hands working on them. So, if we can be first people to get shovels in the ground, right, it only helps the overall budget and end product. And it sounds like from the review, you're looking at, a lesser project than it was, right? So it feels like, for maybe what it could have been, it's not that, but it sounds like it's the right approach for the town. So I think where it's going, it makes a lot of sense, and it would make sense to keep it moving. We've already lost, sounds like 5, 6, 7, 8 years, right? All that money just went up, and we got to get moving. So.
Yeah, I think at this point, like I said, it's about moving forward, and I can't think of a better time from coming in. It's not like we're worried about tariffs. I think it's the opposite. There's a need for work in the area, which is good. So I think that's a big plus. So I'm like you, we're seeing this. It should be a really good bidding environment going into next year.
Yeah. I'm just curious. I understand sort of when we talked about what the project was going to be, but like tangible things that we're not able to do today that people would be able to hear and say, oh, I understand why we need it. Like what are the main talking points other than we're under capacity, it's dated, like
the main talking points is the project being proposed now does all the things that are absolute needs. So it meets all of the program requirements to make us whole as of 2025. There's a little room to grow into it. There isn't the room to grow into it over 30 or 40 years. But the project proposal being put forward in front of the taxpayers next Tuesday night still has, following the same scheme that was done in the feasibility study. So there's still an ability to expand the building if in, like, say 10, 20 or 30 years from now, it needs to be expanded again.
Okay.
We haven't screwed up that expansion capability. It's all still there.
Okay. All right. That makes sense.
Yeah. So I think the only other point that, like I said, I brought up, and as a committee, I think we need to be a little more aggressive in some cost estimating earlier in the project to see where we're at, to make decisions about things. Cause when we get into DD and C, that's when you really start making final decisions about stuff, picking your systems, picking your envelope, making sure Dennis gets all of his program stuff, making sure we capture all of your FF&E furniture, furnishings and equipment. And in a DPW, this isn't office furniture, you're buying lifts and, you're buying a lot more expensive equipment. You're buying the vehicle washing system, Plimo vents for extraction. So you're buying stuff that it'd be good to really make sure that that project captures all those items.
So I'm gonna make them, so are we ready? So they answer all your questions? I sat in the meeting, so I have favorable action for all of this. I mean, they've been in the trailer too long. The equipment is out, everything is outdated.
It's worn out.
It's, we don't meet code anywhere, so we
Yep.
need to move forward.
Yeah.
We're gonna end up skinning that whole building, Justin. We're basically gonna end up keeping the shell and the foundations, which are the big savings. There's some, like the water service and the fire protection service, that's all savable and can be expanded. But we're probably gonna end up having to do a pretty substantial full renovation of that existing building.
So
And I think there's enough design fee in this estimate to cover all that kind of work.
Yeah, I couldn't, the number got formed by, who formed the 2.5? I mean, it's a big number, right? But where did it come from?
That was a talk about, and Dennis is here standing by in the door. I think,
So the bulk of it is from Weston and Sampson. It's 1.9 worth of design. And then there's the OPM charge in there, which I can't, it's around a few $100,000. You got
Okay,
soft costs and contingency.
the FF&E's in there too.
Yeah.
So like they put the FF&E cost in there.
Okay,
So I
Right,
think to
yeah.
your point, be some opportunity to better explain that number. And I think that was some of the conversation that happened in the DPW meeting before, is those slides are gonna get updated with some more explanations.
Yeah.
I'm trying to clarify things.
That's what we're,
We want to make sure we answer all the questions, so there's not any kind of gotcha questions. And we can
right,
answer.
right. It's enough to do a thorough job and not run out of money in the middle of the process, right? But it's also
Correct.
not too much, right? It's gotta be in that sweet spot, right? For anyone
I
who's
think-
listening and paying attention.
way that anything left over from the engineering and goes towards the construction.
Yeah, and then
Right.
the article written that whatever we don't use in design fees, so we have the ability to be judicious with the dollars. And then whatever we don't, we just roll into construction.
I guess
Again,
like a question that might be asked, they're designing exactly the part of the project that we're planning on going forward. We would be planning on going forward with no more, no less, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It could be larger, but we're not gonna try. Doesn't make sense to try and design any of that now. It's like, here's exactly what we need to get up to code for the requirements you think we need. We're not over designing right now because it might change later.
Correct.
we went from, what, 33 million to,
33,000 square feet, we're gonna be down in the 20s,
About
somewhere.
21,000 square feet.
21,
Yeah, but
We were
22,000.
at 30,000, almost 31,000 square feet was the original program building. This one is around 21,000. So about 10,000 square foot came out of this building.
So it's gotten a pretty sizable reduction.
Okay.
And to your point, all the things we need to have it in there the day it opens, and still have some elbow room to
Yeah.
live in it for a couple of decades at least, it's all in there.
All right, I have no more questions on this one.
so I'm gonna make a motion for favorable action on Article 2. For the DPW, the schematic design. For DPW garage, yeah?
Yep, do I have a second, Justin?
I'll second that. Yep.
Any further discussion?
Nope.
Make a recommendation, all in favor? We have to do a roll call, so
Yeah.
online. Dan Lazar's aye.
Lynn Haggerty, aye.
Justin Pollard, aye.
Perfect. Article 5 is the next one, and I think this is more of a discussion. I don't think we have to vote on it, but I wanted to touch on it in case there was a question. And I'm glad you're standing here next to me while we're buying this little piece of land on 12 B Milford Street. Because it's technically capital by the guidelines that the Department of Revenue talks about. I don't think generally, we've been fairly neutral on things like purchasing land and stuff like that. But technically, so I don't know if you want to just give us a quick rundown.
This is 12 feet and so.
Yeah, 12B.
So there's two parcels of property there that the town showed an interest in and that were going up for sale. And the town had fair market appraisal done by a third party come in and do the appraisals. We're bound by procurement laws, so we're not really supposed to offer them any more than the appraisal fee. Appraisal comes in for, or we could use the assessor's fee, either or. The appraisal fee came in for the two properties, $8,800. I can tell you that we presented that to the attorney, the client's attorney, and we haven't heard hide nor hair since. I see that it's reposted online again for sale for $275,000. So I would take that as that article is probably going to get passed over.
Okay.
You know where this
What was the
is,
reason
right?
for why it's on there in the first place? What is it?
Justin, you know where this is?
For us.
Is this, I tried looking it up. This is one property like near Rose Garden and one property near the church.
Two properties, and it's supposed to connect, like, this is supposed to be walkability with a bridge from Heritage Park. You know, this, and I don't know, I see some issues with that. I mean,
It's not like baked enough is what it sounds like.
yeah,
It's not a buildable lot,
no,
and nobody could build on it, even though there's a structure on it.
This is part of like the Grand Vision, like walkability. That visioning process. I remember like they were trying to make connector
Yes.
pieces from one to the next. Is just to be clear though, is this the one behind the Rose Garden? Like that came up when I looked it up. That's where I saw, and then one is behind the church.
Thin and Feather.
behind Fin and Feather,
Thin
it's
and
like
Feather.
the Rose Garden,
Okay.
Fin and Feather. In between the hairdresser shop,
Yeah.
there's that little, in that building's way in the back.
Okay.
Salon.
It's like Salon Vaccaro, and then you can see that building in the back between.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I know what you're talking about.
So, looking straight across the road, that's those
Yeah.
parcels.
Yeah,
So from
I
the
mean,
town's perspective, for the right price, the property could serve as a small parking area. And then from there it would branch off into a bunch of trails and connect you to a waterway that you could put a kayak in or recreation, and that's all the town would use it for.
Yeah.
It doesn't have any use for us other than that. And for anyone else, it really only has a value to the abutters.
So they're gonna just pass it over because of, you say that it's the current.
They think it's worth a lot more money than what it appraised at.
Yeah,
Okay,
It's crazy.
so
Yeah.
basically they're gonna try to extract dollars and we're gonna say no. So I don't think we need to vote on it. I just want to bring awareness to everybody on this one.
At this,
Cause it
Okay.
is involved in the bigger improvement projects, which hopefully continue.
unless we hear something, some miracle between now and Tuesday night, that's just gonna get passed over.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So everybody in the committee comfortable just not voting and making a
well, yeah, because
recommendation
the
on that?
dollar amount isn't even,
Listed.
isn't even listed. I'm not,
Right,
I'm not
like we
happy.
couldn't, we couldn't, we're not gonna raise it at $1 above $8,000 to anything that would be a reasonable ask, and we're not doing 275, so like, we can't really vote on it.
right,
Yep. So just want to make sure that we had a discussion about it as a committee, if we get asked a question on the
Yep.
floor. Perfect. The next item is, we're to 9.
9, yeah.
This one's popped up before. We didn't have enough information to vote on the floor in the March capital meeting for annual. And if you want to give a quick rundown.
This one, the fire department?
Yeah, the drain that we gotta fix. I think you've seen it.
So there's good and bad news. The good news is that all the infrastructure outside of the building, where it goes to a water oil separator and a tight tank, is intact and in good condition. However, the drainage inside the building that collects all the runoff from the apparatus on the apparatus floor is rotted away, and it needs to be cut out. The tricky part of the job is the fact that there's radiant heat in that floor, and the tubes come remarkably close to that drain. So there's some contingencies built into this to give us some leeway in case somebody loses control of their cutoff saw when we're trying to make an incision and we end up having to replace some tubes.
This is like a closed loop system, the radiant heating?
Worst bow radiant floor system. Yeah, it's a worst bow, worst radiant floor system. That's the
Okay,
most
it's not-
efficient way. Yeah.
No, I've had a couple of jobs where we had to do something like this and it was electrical and we were able to lose a few circuits and it was fine. But this is like, they all connect to each other. You cut one, you cut them all, right? Okay,
You cut one, you cut a loop, so you cut a zone in the floor. Yeah. It goes
Yeah.
back to a header. You know, we have those apparatus floor bay doors. It goes into a header off
Okay.
one of those bay doors. I think there's like, I want to say there's like 24 loops in there. So you wouldn't cut all of them. If you cut one, you had to repair it. You're not cutting the whole thing. There's a lot of them.
Thank God.
what is, I'm just trying to picture, like, I get the, like, you might have some mechanical repairs, but like, what does this hole look like or trench? Like, what are we picturing?
It's just like the one in the DPW, so it's a long single trench that's got grates on top of it, designed so you can pop the grates out. And there's catchment areas in them to try to catch any of the sedimentation that drops in it. And then the rest of the water drains through and finds its way to a pipe that goes outside to a water oil separator and then into a tight tank.
Okay,
They're gonna
okay,
put
and
some cut there, me, Justin.
Yeah.
And basically put like a fiberglass drain liner system replacement in there. It's a big job.
okay,
So Dennis, you put in
289.
289, just a few dollars below $290,000. It seems like a good budget for a project like that.
yeah, definitely, yep.
I think this is no surprise. I think we've voted favorable on this in the past. It's just, it came back as they told us to pass over it in March. They have more information now, so
Okay, yeah. I'm not-
I think this one's fairly straightforward. It's a must-do kind of thing. We gotta do it.
Yeah,
The fire
I'm-
department, we already exhausted the resourcefulness. We did our own homemade mortar repair that's been holding it up, so it's not cracking apart. But it's pretty ugly and it doesn't drain well. So this needs to get done. We were just wanting to make sure that you had the right assessment of the project.
Yep, thank you. I'm good on this one.
You wanna make the motion, Justin?
Yeah, I'm not good at making motions, but I can try and make, I can't read it, but I'll make a motion to raise or appropriate the, 289,000, to repair the drain at the fire station.
Got a second?
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
No.
Seeing none, we have to do a roll call vote. Dan Lazar's aye.
Lynn Haggerty, aye.
Justin Pollard, aye.
And the last article is a cemetery restoration, which is spending taxation dollars from CPC, but it is over the $25,000 limit. So I think this is something that, I don't know if it's capital or not. You and I talked about this.
This is
It's to be
this
safe.
is the first cemetery.
Yeah.
Yeah,
first
it's $125,000 of CPC funds, so that some of it's gonna be for restoration of stones. Some of it's gonna be for dropping some of the pine trees that are in that area that are destroying those stones. Some of it's gonna be to replant some trees so that we keep the aesthetics in that old cemetery looking correctly. A new fence to keep traffic from, there's a paintball facility right next to it, so we wanna make sure the cars don't actually drive into it. And then there's some signage that they want to put up. It was actually a very good presentation by Ed Phillips.
And they're looking into, so they asked me about the, for like ADA, they asked me about, they're gonna apply for the Mass Trails grant to get like, accessible route, a better accessible route through there. And they're looking into that in addition to.
Yeah.
If that's
And this
anything
is,
helpful.
sorry, I'm not familiar with where this area is. Like, I just don't know where it is.
Grove Street, if you go to Grove Street, all the way almost to Mendon, there's a dirt road like driveway off to the left.
Okay,
It goes first cemetery on the left-hand side, and on the right's private property where they have that paintball gun club.
oh, okay, yeah, I saw the sign moved over there from Milford Street. Okay, I know the area, yep.
We own a bunch of these old historic cemeteries.
Yeah,
It's just that the town's properties and This is like Ed, where he did with the Grange. He seems to really have, he's got projects
He
really
does a
well
lot of
planned.
research.
He's got it figured out, and he
Yeah.
personally puts a lot of time and effort managing
He
them.
does. Yes.
It's a well thought out project.
Yeah. So,
So you said it's a 2-year project. Yeah, 2 years for the work you're talking about, 125, like,
Yeah.
makes sense.
yeah,
They gotta do it, it's gonna be done a little more deliberately because of the historic preservation and being thoughtful about what they're doing.
right,
And Ed's kind of running it by himself, basically, so as a taxpayer, we got nothing to complain about. He did a great job with that Grange.
he
Absolutely.
Good
did, he
example
did,
of
yeah,
the kind of projects they're delivering on when they come ask for dollars. And like
Yeah.
I said, the funding, this is already collected tax money and it's appropriate for CPC. I mean, they vote to discharge it, but I think it's a totally appropriate project from my perspective. So I'd look for a motion from this committee so we can
so what article is it?
attend.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to, for favorable action on Article 10 to approve the 125K for first
Cemetery.
cemetery.
I'll
So I
second
need
that.
There's first, we have a motion and seconded. Any further discussion?
Nope.
Seeing none,
No.
Roll call vote. Dan Lazar's aye.
Lynn Haggerty, aye.
Justin Pollard, aye.
Unanimous action.
Okay, and the last one we have is Article 12, Town Hall roof replacement and associated building envelope repairs. We authorized the design money back in March. They have that done and they have a project, and this is, my only question for you is this is a bid off of what they prepared for the work?
Yes.
Okay. So this is that, they gotta do, when we did the town hall, it had a roof project done to it at the time. And it was appropriate for its life, 10 years. They didn't know if we get another 20 or 30 years. We only got 10.
So the roof was actually done before the town hall project,
You know, the roof was done, that's how we got into
Yeah.
it. So the roof's been on there for
25 years.
25 years.
Yeah, and they've repaired it, they've done, in between, they've done multiple repairs on it that I've witnessed. So,
Yeah.
uh,
So anyways, they needed the roof, it wasn't needed to be replaced when they did the project. And I think maybe there was a hope it was gonna go longer, but we're not at that point. They've had water infiltration in the attic and into the masonry walls, and then the repointing work's gotta be done.
No,
It's a historic building, so we don't have, and then there's some window replacement too, correct?
This window, all the glazing on the outside of the windows, because the water got behind everything.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. It's a wood frame structure with a mortar and brick facade. So once the moisture gets behind it, it creates havoc everywhere, all the way down to the foundation. And then we have some intrusions through the foundation itself. So you're looking at the complete replacement of all of the architectural asphalt shingles, including all of the flashing. The flashing was done incorrectly. It's basically a lead tin flashing up there, and it's not folded over itself like it's supposed to be, like normal flashing. Somebody cut it. They should have never done that. And by doing that, they created seams. So there's a lot of water intrusion from that. We're anticipating some damaged wood areas that have to be replaced when the roof comes off. Then you've got all new snow and ice dam system that has to go up, and all new gutters. That's the very top of the building. Then you've got the outside window glazing where the moisture has gotten behind it. It's peeling all the glazing off. Because it's a historic building too, all of this has to be approved and stamped by an architect
yeah,
and then approved by the state historical.
It goes to SHPO.
Yep.
And
And then
I remember talking about this. It might have been at one of our last meetings, Dan, I forget, or maybe with you, Dennis, I can't remember. But we talked about, was it SGH was involved in the design or possibly involved in the execution of this?
This is one where we talked about, I think we told you originally to make sure you had the right envelope repair architect.
Yeah, and I ended up with Weston and Sampson because I was under the gun and I didn't end up finding the people that you
Okay.
had recommended, which I
So, but
apologize.
here's my question is, on this, the $3.39 million, they're gonna oversee that in construction administration.
It's all included.
Everything's included. Okay.
Everything's included. All of the permitting, all of the communications we have to do with National Register, with the Historical Register.
So they have the SHPO covered.
Yep.
They have the construction administration, so it's a project managed. I mean, it's not gonna take a lot of time. That's a job that an architect visits every couple weeks. But does do the field work and observations to make sure that, because you won't have a GC, you're just gonna direct contract somebody.
With them, yeah, they're providing oversight for direct oversight for it. It'd be repointing in all of the brickwork and the mortar restoration, and then you've got some foundation work that needs to be
Yeah, I'm
done.
gonna do some Frenching.
So they're gonna oversee the work all together.
It's a much larger job when you're done. I mean, they're going from the roof to the ground.
Yeah.
It's the whole envelope
Yeah,
of the building.
it sounds like a lot. I don't know. I mean, I would love to look at any documents that are available to get my head around what they're trying to do, just so I understand it, but I can imagine what it is.
I think there might be something that to be honest with you, Justin, as a capital committee, we can, Dennis and I were talking about going forward, that we could often be a little more involved in some reviews to give some insight and feedback.
Just another,
Absolutely.
just another set of eyes, right? Like it sounds like this one, it was done wrong. It was done wrong once, right? So,
Exactly.
Well, I think also they kind of bypassed the roof thinking they had more time than they did, and that probably was not the best decision. The
Sure.
repointing gets tricky because of SHPO.
I
Often,
mean,
you know, it's a,
I mean,
it's a
that's
reason.
gonna be the biggest thing expected of us in this committee is how many eyes are on what's happening to make sure it's done right, right? It's just like my job every day.
Only discussion we have when we're recording our minutes that we want to kind of work with you to provide some CPC oversight, people like Justin and myself.
I take all the help I can get.
I know you would, Dennis.
But we don't want to repeat having to, like you said, have flashing and other things be a problem going forward.
Yeah,
And
yeah, and
no-
I have some people that I work with. If there's a couple things that I might want to run by someone, I mean, we do this stuff all the time. So
Yep. So like you said, as long as it's a full bid set and
It is.
we know,
Right to the end.
and they're doing the
Enough.
construction administration, and we as a committee can help out with being another set of eyes on behalf of the town.
I guess the last thing with the number that's there, how much of that is a bid value and how much of it is like allowances? Like what does that number represent? Do you know?
Let's see if I
I
have.
don't have it readily
Yeah.
available.
Yeah, I didn't get
Okay,
it.
yeah, it's okay if you don't know. I'm just curious, like that would be sort of the one question. Is the number's 3.3? If
Yeah,
it's,
it makes sense to break that a little bit.
I didn't get it.
He sent it to me on Monday. I apologize.
And I'll beat you later.
because it's probably like an identified quantity of repointing, the replacement of like window and roofing, like that's a set quantity, and flashing. I'm just
The
curious
pricing-
where it might.
pricing For just the roofing. The roofing's the biggest part of it.
Yeah.
You forget your password?
Sorry. It's not even this computer, it's the other one.
It's probably the foundation repairs for what we're talking about might be the most scary for what's found. But
So if you look at the east wall, Justin, that's the section that's facing what's called Town Hall Road, the road that goes up, that's real steep road.
Yep.
If you're standing on that road and you're looking at Town Hall, towards the left-hand side down the bottom, there's old stone there and there's some foundation above it. I don't know if at one time they had that mortared in or not, but there's no cement there now. And the yard is pitched to it. So it's, it's just going, if you go in the basement, go over to the custodian's closet where that section is, there's a concrete knee wall there. You can see it, the water bleeding right through it.
oh geez, okay.
Board of Health
Okay.
floor gets wet.
Hold on, I'm pulling up here.
Look for my email, I sent you like the backup for.
Yep, I'm looking at, there it is, support information. I have the engineering, where was it, restoration plan? That town hall roof.
Yep.
Structure repairs.
Send it to Justin.
I'm gonna forward this whole email to the entire committee.
Cool.
Is
So we have $725,000 for roofing, $685,000 for the facade repairs, the brick repointing work. $175,000 for foundation repairs and underground water infiltration. And another $275,000 for miscellaneous sealant, painting, carpentry, staging, etc.
Okay, and those numbers, did that come from an estimate or from the subcontractor, or how'd that work?
It came from our engineer.
That's a cost estimate summary from Weston and Sampson.
So
Okay.
these guys generally give us they ask for more than what it's gonna be. In other words, we generally turn money back, and I like it that way.
So
Right,
1.8 for the total sub-construction cost. GC costs are $565. A 15% design contingency, which I expect it to be high, given you don't know what you're gonna actually run into when you start tearing things apart. An escalation of 4% for
A year.
111, and then essentially you put in a tariffs cost allowance. Are you actually seeing that right now or no?
I mean, it changes every day. I mean, we're seeing tariffs, there's been on electrical, we've seen some stuff from metal panels. So for roofs, maybe, for masonry, no, for foundation repairs, no. I would say for the roof, obviously, that's the biggest thing.
Well, like I said, they might be going after copper or leaded copper for a lot of the flashing because it's a historic building. It's got to be built to standards. So
Yeah,
I-
that it may or may not be a problem, yeah.
extra money account. Hopefully, you don't have to spend it, but
They're also hiring another engineering firm that specializes in doing all of the water infiltration through infrareding of the building. So they go through the whole building and it'll find all the wet spots that you can't see without opening walls. So we
Yep.
can find anything. We make sure nothing gets missed. That's the big part of it.
so
That's,
I
yeah,
would make a
that's great.
recommendation to the feedback here that as part of our favorable, if we're gonna vote in that direction, that we would help Dennis with this one, because we don't want, same thing, we want to have a committee that's another set of eyes on behalf, helping him with the building.
And
And
capital will assist.
capital will basically assist in just essentially working with DPW director
Absolutely.
on
I welcome it.
helping manage this, but I don't see anything that doesn't make sense. This all seems to make sense for what we're talking about.
Yeah, I was just curious, like with the budget that, and I know you ran through the numbers, how much, there's a 15% contingency, which is great, right? That's a healthy contingency. But with some of the repairs, are all of those estimate, like 150,000 for the foundation repairs? If there's a section that, or if there's something about the foundation where there's more work identified, is that over the 150, or is there an allowance within that 150 that would swallow that, right? That's what I'm kind of curious about.
They have a contingency on the total project, do they not?
Yeah, I'm going back.
It
to the
sounds
number
like
again.
15% on the total project, which is great.
So
Yeah.
it's gonna be inclusive of every single estimate.
I would see typically a 10% at least on a project like this.
Yep.
So to your point, that if we run into a little more than we need to, you have another 5% in that contingency. And that's where we could help you with having different sets of eyes looking at this stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, so like you said, yeah, 565 for GC costs, 363 for which is the 15% for
Yeah.
escalation design contingency, and then they hit an escalation, which is another 4%. And so we almost have a 19%
That-
number to work with.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good for what we're talking about.
Yep. And then they have their fees for the CA and the follow through on the design. So that's where that number comes from.
Okay.
Like you said, it's a repair project. I don't know what you're gonna bump into.
This
Hopefully
is-
it's
I know
like
this is-
60, turn it back. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, it's a fun one.
So here we go. Article 12, town hall roof replacement and associated building envelope repairs. I make, recommendation for capital make favorable action, and I need a second.
Second that.
Yep, and as a chair, I'm gonna make sure that we record the assistance piece, so. or will I
Everything
answer
should be
the question?
recorded that I'll be able to
Perfect.
go over the whole meeting.
Okay.
So we, Dan Lazar,
So, I have a motion and seconded. Any further discussion?
no,
Seeing none, roll call vote. Dan Lazarus, aye.
Lynn Haggerty, I,
Justin Pollard, aye.
thank you.
That's all we need to accomplish tonight.
Okay,
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks all. Thank you,
Thank you.
Justin.
Thanks, guys.
okay,
Um,
motion to adjourn.
hold on, before we do the motion to adjourn, I do need 1 second. There is a discussion, as you know, the town manager's left, so we're up to a new town manager. This committee's probably starting in, I gotta go find out who Nick couldn't come tonight. He let me know he couldn't come. He was really tight this week with something at work.
Who's our finance guy and who's our?
He's the
planning
FinCom guy. We don't have a planning person, so I'm gonna go find the planning person. And we lost Kristen, and of course, we lost John Westerling a year ago. So we've been down. We need to add a couple bodies. So if you know people that are interested, let's go looking for people.
Hmm.
You know, I don't think we're gonna run out of space or room. So if, when Kristen comes back, hopefully she does, you know, there'll definitely be room for her to rejoin the committee.
Yeah, I mean, we've been sitting at 6 for a while.
We're authorized for 7.
Now, yeah.
So if you have any other consigliere friends that are town people
Bring
that
them-
want to
bring
join,
them on down.
the more
I'll
the
try- I'll try-
merrier.
Yeah, I'll try and think of, obviously. The other guy, Jay, he was on the building committee for a bit and he dropped off. I'm trying to think of somebody else who might be interested that I know.
Well, what I want to do is like before, I really want to be thoughtful and respectful of our time. So when we do meet and we do act, that we're really doing good work, but we're not just wasting a lot of time. We're not spinning wheels. We're not getting caught up
Yeah.
in we're not getting caught up with the emotions and the politics of things. And we just need to focus.
That's one of the beauties of this committee.
So, with that though, Steve Byrne and myself are gonna meet with Dennis Spray after special town meeting. One of the things that did get started was, as you know, we've been trying for a long time to have an official policy and to get that plan done, the initial draft of the plan. So they got a community compact
Yeah,
grant to do that. It started. And now we need to people take it over. So Steve Byrne and I are of the opinion that the committees take that over and we work with whoever becomes our new town manager. The idea is to keep that work with the Collins Center going,
Yeah.
even if it has to get completed before we have the town manager, get them to give a recommendation. So we don't have this kind of a burden sitting on another town manager where we've already had 2 that have had resource and time challenges to do this, get done. So FYI, I think we're gonna get back to doing a little work in the fall or early winter like we always talked about before you start turning the corner for annual town meeting.
yeah, we gotta meet a little bit. We gotta, we're really supposed to meet 10 times a year, so we gotta
Is
meet a
that
little
what the
bit.
number is for this?
Yeah,
thing?
it's, some
Thank God.
committees are supposed to meet 10 times a year.
How about
I
6?
mean,
I'll
like,
go for 6.
all right, we'll go for 6, but you know,
So-
technically
So
that.
the original thought was we talked about back in the day, 3 in the fall, 3, up
Yeah.
to 3, up to 3 in the spring. And that we do a work session in the fall, because that's the
Yeah.
part I want to make sure the Collins Center helps us out, because in most cases, if we had had a lot more earlier upfront conversations with articles coming, things we talk about towards the end to make sure
Yeah.
we got right, we'd have that out there already.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be the goal. So just as an FYI, I'm gonna meet and hopefully we will maybe meet in December possibly. And then I don't think there's gonna be a huge warrant coming up in the spring. I think things are a little tight right now. And there's a lot of concerns, so we'll have to see how that plays out. I think the only thing that's gonna come in the spring is the actual, hopefully a really competitive, good bid price for the DPW
Yeah.
project to move that forward. So that's kind of the focus. And then the plan.
That'd be great to get that going. I mean, it's a good time to go for that, for sure.
Yeah, I think the other part too is, I think we may be going for an article to implement a capital budget policy that actually becomes codified in the town's code.
Yeah.
So our efforts probably gonna be making sure to help the DPW committee work on these couple things we just approved. And then be ready to actually put in place what we'll set really a tempo for the committee going forward for the next decade, really.
Yeah.
It'll define it much better and we won't have to wander around and we'll have my goal has always been is to push everything into the fall. And we do a lot of work in the fall and then finance people in details. And then we just kind of show up to make sure it's on track of what we recommended in the fall.
I don't,
Okay.
I don't see much for May either, because right now we're sitting at, I think that I went to a couple of planning, finance and the workshop meetings and, as far as like taxes go, it looks like we may be around 1398 going up to that because it's gonna hit, the schools are gonna hit, and then this is gonna hit, and that's another reason, like they took Holy Angels off, besides the fact that there's no parking, we're leading into, yeah.
Well, I
millions
think,
of dollars
I think a
of
couple of things are
design.
gonna happen going forward is I think trying to get the town center to off the dime. And make that some kind of public-private partnership is gonna be the way forward. We'll see how that plays out.
But
There's a
nobody,
group of people that want to try to make it a town project. I just don't think we can. I think we're gonna find a situation. And this is above us. This goes at the policy level with the board, the select board. So I think as a committee, the couple of immediate things that are gonna come up coming into this new year, we're gonna get a little more busier. It's been a quiet year for us in general. Is we're gonna have this planning policy document. We actually may have to sponsor an article to make it
yeah,
become part of, the policy and the planning going forward and having truly establishing this 10-year plan we've been talking about trying to do for a long time. And that'd be a huge accomplishment. And like I said, we have DPW. This project's gonna take a little bit of our time in between. The town hall helping out with that. And I think at the end of the day, town center and housing development project works and things related to, we're gonna get multifamily housing in 140. We don't have any choice. It's coming. You know that.
Yeah.
That's actually, it's much
How-
needed for the area.
How many? I know the one. Are there any others right now coming?
Yeah, there's one that was walked today at lunchtime. There's another one coming across the street from Gasco.
yeah,
Six
Yeah.
townhouses, 6 townhouse buildings in a fairly compact. That's at MBTA community zone, so the amount of units per acre is up to 15.
yeah.
So we're gonna start seeing things that the community's not been used to seeing.
We
Sure.
need affordable.
But we need this housing. We need this housing for jobs. We need this housing for younger people to be able to live here
Crazy.
more efficiently and affordably. So I think we're gonna see this, that's kind of priority wise. I think we're gonna be maybe getting involved in capital. I think the other part that's gonna come up with capital is, I think the capital plan is gonna kick up a few other items, like we know that we already have capital plans that are sitting on the shelf,
Right,
like water, wastewater,
yeah,
and water distribution.
yeah,
They got work that needs to get planned and we need to make sure it gets in the 10-year plan. So we set the tempo where this goes and where we think it's gonna fit in the next decade. To remove the like, oh, what's coming up for
Yeah.
this special or this annual,
Yeah.
and try to send a little more of a planning tempo.
instead of a band.
We can only recommend and we can always help prioritize, because one of the things that'll come out of this Collins work will have that. If you remember the prioritization scoring sheet that was in that draft that we have up on our site. If you go to the capital committee now, the draft plan's still there. I think they're gonna revalidate what we put it together as a draft plan back in COVID years, 2020 or 21.
Right, I can picture it. I remember going through it.
The websites, you wanna take a peek. So one of the quick housekeeping item, I just forwarded all the backup stuff that Dennis had that we talked about tonight, so you guys all have it.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, we need a couple members. I've actually had somebody from a finance background that recently retired that's interested in joining. And she was asking why I really bring a finance and a financing. I said, well, technically FinCom does that, but if you want to focus on what it means for capital planning, that would be a good thing. And I would always welcome going after other design professionals and
oh,
construction
definitely,
professionals, because I think we're gonna get into a period the next few years where we're gonna need those extra sets of eyes.
yep,
And
Yeah.
having a person from CBC serve on committees like you did for this building that we're sitting in. This
Yeah,
beautiful
it's
building we're sitting.
A lot of that going on for sure.
So, yeah, that's all I have. So I'll shut up with my housekeeping and then you can make a motion on that.
okay, I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn at,
40.
8:40.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion to adjourn and seconded. Any further discussion?
No,
Nope.
Seeing none, roll call. Dan Lazar's aye.
Lynn Haggerty, aye.
Justin Pollard, aye.
Thank you so much, sir.
It's
All right,
great to
thank
see
you, guys.